guys, my name is Varun and I'm community growth marketer at Ampliz, and I'm hosting a wonderful podcast series called The Startup Show. But this time it's very different. Since the Web Summit has come to an end, I have been interviewing startups regarding their experiences at the Web Summit. So I created a very special edition web series in which I will be sharing you the startup experiences happened in Lisbon Web Summit. So today we have a very wonderful guest. His name is Mr. Andrea Baldini, who is a co-founder of AR Market, here joining this Web Summit special edition startup show. Startup show. So welcome, Mr. Andrea. How are you?
Glad to be here with you to make a discussion about Web Summit and in general about
exactly. And thank you for joining. It is really honored that I really appreciate that you joined the show discussing about the Web Summit.
Oh, it's nice, everyone that spreads a vehicle and also, the passion of what we do as startups and as owners of small companies that try to change the world is welcome, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, thank you. So shall I directly dive in?
Yeah, sure,
okay.
Sure.
So my first question is as natural. How was your experience at the Web Summit?
Oh, well, what for me, first of all, it's fun. You get all people having fun, exploring and meeting, and it's really easy to connect with people. I mean, it's not like you got that distance that normally you have in really different conventions where you can see there is people of different sector, like investors, and they don't get together. You sit down and immediately people will start talking to you. And even when you are not at the stand, it's easy to meet incredible people that are doing incredible things.
Very great. So like you earlier, we had a small discussion that you from the previous 3 years, you have been visiting the Web Summit. So for this year, what was the biggest change you saw in the Web Summit?
Well, actually, I have seen more Italians, first of all. So Italy, we had more startups like 4 years ago when I was there for the first time. I could find a lot of Italians. So the ecosystem of Italy was for sure growing, because I could find more than 60 startups. So it was a big number. Secondly, I kind of felt like big players are getting in the picture more than before. So you can find these huge stands and they're investing more money. On the same time, I can feel that it became too much, a little bit too much. So in the 3 days, you kind of lose yourself if you don't have direction. I mean, it's not easy to not get distracted by all that is happening. So you can have so many pitches and investors around, but at the same time, just to tell you something, I missed an appointment with the actual mayor of Lisbon because he contacted me through LinkedIn, and I was not looking at LinkedIn because I was looking at the app of the venue, and in the end, I missed the chance to meet with the mayor. So it can be challenging. I always suggest to people that they should be more than 2 or 3, because so someone can do scouting, someone can do partnership, and the other can actually focus on selling and finding funding. That it's mostly the thing that you, and clients is mostly the thing you do when you are there actually.
Okay, and how was all the Web Summit tech talks, keynote speeches?
Well, I've seen a few, because mostly for the reason I was telling before, it's hard to focus on that, and that's why I really like that you can find all of them like in the days after, so that the weekend I can rest myself and check out the one that I really liked. The roundtables were really fascinating because you actually get to meet people that managed to do the difference, to build an empire, that actually share that knowledge with you. And that was really nice. And at the same time, it was, Snowden, the first day was kind of cool. It was anyway a different approach. I also like the sport with Ronaldinho. I mean, there are several things that are pretty cool as usual. But mostly I like to talk with people that are at my same level as a startup to see how they're doing, how it's different being in a different country and trying to understand a market that is not yours. So sometimes, especially in my field, the AR can be totally different based on their location you are. So if you got a lot of early adopters, you can find different market. Instead, some of the things that I saw there could not have been sold in my country because people would not understand them. So that is fascinating.
Okay, so that's great because hearing new experiences and the Websummit experience was really great. So moving on, like my next question is, what is AR market and what problem it is solving, and how changes can be made? Like if I'm asking you to pitch AR market like in an elevator, what would be your elevator pitch for the Websummit?
Well, being really short, we reinvent traditional education, adding AR and VR to make kids love what they're doing, because education is still an issue, and the future is not technology. The future is our kids. It's young minds that need to shape a better future for all of us, and learn from our mistakes and all of that. So we create a solution like a paper solution that can be easily scalable in all schools, and they are added with technology so they can actually be used by young minds to learn in a different way. So it's a process of gamification applied with AR and VR to traditional methods such as books, paper, board games, and videos and art. And to do that, we are publishers. So it's not that we do the products alone, but we find writers, illustrators, educators, museums, and we build with them solutions that have an impact.
Okay, and the audiences are B2B, B2C?
Oh, well, it's B2B when you're talking about publishers. So we work with other publishers that have already books to turn their normal books into innovative products, and that is one pattern. Museums and schools are a B2B, even if they don't have a lot of money, as you may understand. And then finally, there is B2C, but mostly my goal is to spread knowledge. I think that if you spread knowledge and passion in what you do, and you find a common ground where generation can actually have fun together. So you're talking parents, educators, grandparents, and the actual kid. That is when you make the difference. Because if you play with your grandfather chess, you get bored because it's an old game for you. If you play chess digitally, your grandfather is gonna have fun and you are gonna have fun. So it's a common ground. AR and VR can be that common ground for us.
That's great. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I heard about what is AR market. So now my next question is, like, at the Websummit, AR is is the future for anything, education, higher recruitment. You consider any technology, any kind of markets, you can see AR is rising each year. So considering the competition or considering the competitive market out there, how was your experience at the Websummit looking into different competitors out there?
Well, I've been at Websummit, and I also have been at the AWE in Europe and in the United States. The competition is everywhere. I mean, I'm not lying saying, oh my God, I'm the only one doing this thing. The AR is going to affect so many fields, and that's why we have a vertical on education, but we do AR and VR solution for businesses also. And then imagining new application with AR and VR, that it doesn't concern me. I think that what really will happen is actually that Adobe coming out with the new solution for AR will actually have a spread of the technology. What happened in the last 2 years was everyone was focusing on hardware. So we invested $2 billion to make Magic Leap, and everyone is building glasses. But the issue is that the content itself, it's just too little. We need more content. We need more solutions. We need also solution that can be easily used by people. Because the issue here is all about UE and UX, because the problem is that most of the people are still doing applications that are used for the phone, but in a matter of 5 years, we'll all have glasses. Are we thinking about the future, or are we just thinking about the past? Some other competitors were already using new technologies such as ARKit, ARCore, but the issue is there you're talking with such a small population of devices that you're actually leaving out of the picture 80% of the market. You need to have people use this technology and understand they're using this technology. I mean, every day you're using filter on Instagram or Facebook with Spark, and you don't know that that is AR. You think it's entertainment, but you don't know it's actually augmented reality. You're watching a soccer game in TV and you see the SkyTech movements. Well, that is AR. But are we communicating that to the public, to the consumer? That is the major issue, because everyone is focusing so much on gaming on one side, and on the other side on industry. There are few players that are actually doing retail, but they're doing retail one-on-one. And that is still an issue, because you don't have consumers downloading 1 million apps. They don't want to download 1 million apps. And that's why 8Wall, that is doing web AR, got such a success, because that's a QR code that gives you AR. And that is different. I mean, it's easy to understand from consumers. There is a big leap between using a normal application and using AR and VR, and that leap is made of space. When you're using a device to watch AR and actually also even VR, you're actually making a revolution from a flat screen to a 360 perspective. And that needs to be understood by the consumer and needs to be taught from us, the player that actually developing, to them. Are we doing this? And on that, I have a concern on that, because I think we are spending a lot of money, but we are not focusing on the issue that is actually the consumer understanding the technology.
Okay. So with AR market, like you showed me a page, right? Like a sheet.
Yeah.
So basically how it works, like even if you consider a retailer angle or a publisher, how it actually works using, is it using the AR software we are developing?
Yeah, actually it's, AR, I didn't invent an SDK. I mean, I invented a new UI and UX approach on products. We start from paper because it's an easy way to reach the consumer in an easy way. They understand books, they can still read books. So if you see this one, it's a coloring book. So the kid just colors the book, and then there is a 3D asset, there is a 2D asset, there is multilingual approach, there is education approach. So it's something simple. And you can apply this to education, but also to retail, commerce, industry, because we still need a vehicle to get there. But in a matter of a year, this will be obsolete. Maybe this book will be digital in 360 around us, but the storytelling of the book, it's a memory. I keep this because it's a memory. Instead, if we're just using the device, we forget about the possibility of doing this. So that's why we look for other solutions and other partners that share our same objective of, first of all, create the market and then invest the money. Because if we invest the money before making the market, that what happened in the last, AR is here since 2007, 8, and there is still not a market as it was supposed to be. But people, when they see the AR, especially, even more than VR, they have still the wow effect, because it's actually seeing characters, products, and there are so many examples. I can mention like wanna kick, you can try shoes on your feet without doing anything. There are so many great applications, insurance, in retail, in industry, but people don't know about that. We need to create the market, have everyone know, and we're talking about entrepreneurs in any field, and then they'll come to us and we can build together a good thing. That's why I think like Snapchat and actually Facebook, Instagram, they are doing like the opening of the market, but I don't think they are doing in a value way. I mean, they're just making empty entertainment for people, and that is burning the market of what the AR technology can actually do for the life of everyday of people. Because actually we need to solve a problem for the people, not just make them be entertained. We have so much empty entertainment everywhere. Let's put content back into the picture.
Okay, that's really great. Amazing thoughts on AR marketing, AR market. So what was the funding experience at the Websummit?
Actually, we had talks with several investors. It's you know, the funding process of startups in the last 2 or 3 years, it's a bit weird. I mean, I think that startups need money to then make the products, but at the same time, the one investing the money are waiting for numbers before investing. But that is a process that ends up in just few companies getting a lot of money instead of an ecosystem raising. My company is totally self-funded. I mean, I invest all the money in it, and my goal can be somehow not perfect for some investors because it feels like I want to change the world, and it's not just trying to make money. I'm not just trying to make money. Most of the stuff I do, like most of these books are given to hospitals with cancer kids. We open partnership, and we invest the money even if we are so little. Because I think that's the way to go. You know, get consumers, get customers, get the word spread out, and then you can build even more fun products. So investors are always kind of the same. They cheat around at the beginning, then they go direct to numbers, and they want certain answers. What my experience was like, I also did the pitch. And it was fascinating, but I still don't get how you win a pitch, because most of the time I am on stage, what I see a lot of people shooting great numbers, but then when I go on their website or I go looking for them on the internet, I cannot find them. So there is something that I'm missing in the picture, because if I go on stage, I don't want to lie. I will say the number that I have, even if they are little, because I know I did something. I made a product in a matter of a year. I managed to build a team, build a company, but I will not say I sold 1 million books, because I didn't sell 1 million books. Because otherwise I would not be there looking for investors. I would be doing it on my own. Because if I have already traction, numbers, downloads, and everything, why do I need investors? I can still go to a bank and find the investments I want. So for me, most of all, investment, it's about partnership. Someone getting money to my company needs to also open opportunities for me. Otherwise, money itself doesn't make anything. It just gets you to go to ICO or IPO and then sell the thing on the market, but it actually doesn't create value. Value, it's about partnership, co-sharing, and sharing a same objective also with investors, not only in the co-founders. I mean, if an investor jumps in, he needs and wants to make money, but he needs to share my same goal in the direction I want to go.
Okay, that's a very well lesson you have given us on whom to invest, or what should we what should we look ahead. Like you said, partnership integration is really important when you're considering these days. That was a learning from this podcasting today, guys. So thank you for that. So I would like to know how many team members are working in AR market right now?
At the moment, we have 10 permanent staff between co-founders, developers, and 3D and 2D artists, and the marketing team. But being a publisher, we have already worked with 4 amazing illustrators, plus we did a partnership with the Musemio, that is a startup from London that does VR entertainment for museums. And we did a co-share book on, actually, this is the book, on Egypt. And it's a story on a book. So it's a written book with illustration, and then you get every single page that goes to AR content. And in certain clues of the AR are used in VR for a full immersion interactive story. And so we're working with more than 20 between writers, illustrator, educators. And now just today we closed the deal with the Museum of History in Italy. So we're working on several partnerships. As I say, that's the word. Most of the time I'm fascinated of what it could be done if 5 or 6 small companies that you can find also at the Websummit really talk about business together, like not trying with ego to be the CEO of a company, but just saying, okay, let's meld together. So you have 5 people, I have 5, and so you got a company with 25 developers sharing technology that, so if you have AR, you can find a VR company, an AI company, you can find a marketing company, and then you got a good company. You can go to VC and say, okay, I have 5 technologies, I have 40 people, I'm ready to market. But that connecting the dots between companies is done by no one. Like every time I go and see something cool, I share to potential clients, because that is what about the ecosystem. And it's not just the Italian ecosystem, it's the full ecosystem. Are we doing that? I don't think so. Everyone is trying to make just money. If we really want to change the world, you need co-founders, you need other companies, you need partnership, and then you need money. But not start from the money and then find all the others, because then you're doing a corporation and you're not changing the world, you're just making money. And it's not all about the money, guys. It's about the journey, it's about the vision, it's about doing something that you really care about.
Okay, so what is your biggest challenge when it comes to when you're working with AR market? So what was the biggest challenge in your startup experience?
Actually, building a team. Okay. You know, every time you hire someone, you're doing a bet on yourself and your ability to see if that person will fit in the team, mostly. Okay. Secondly, it's sharing a passion. I mean, like I invented this company, I have the vision. So sometimes you end up in bed at night saying, oh, I don't have to fuck up. Otherwise 10 people will lose their job and we'll have to start again. So it's responsibility, I would say. And it's trying to, sometimes you feel like you're holding the full house with your own hands. Like you got 100 emails, you have to answer to investors, clients, you have to go to clients, you have to talk with clients because they want to talk with the manager, not with someone else. And at the same time, you have to synchronize with all the others to have the same vision. Because, you know, if I don't talk with my team, I end up that the product itself is not what I want. But it's something that is in the middle. So you need a lot of planning, organization. You need to find people that share the same desire of having fun. Because I come to work every day and I have tons of fun. And sometimes I get mad, sometimes I can scream. But in the end, it's what drives me in the morning is wake up, go change the world with great teams around you.
That's a very inspiring thought from you.
Thank you.
So this would be probably the last question for the podcast show, since we have a very limited time and I don't want to waste your rest of your time as well.
Thank you.
Andrea, just I would like to know what is your biggest being supercharged moment for 2019?
I would say seeing a product come alive after it was just a vision in your mind, and actually showing it to kids and see them actually enjoy. It's something that gives you chills, because you are like, oh, really? I have been a visionary for something. I mean, I managed to take an idea, turn it into reality, and then the actual consumer of the thing was actually happy about it. You know, it's you do a lot of A and B testing, you do a lot of thinking, but in the end, it's not easy to make a product. It's always a challenge, and especially when you do something that has not been done so much. I mean, there are not so many companies that do the same thing. I mean, we're talking maybe 20 globally, and we do it literally different from them, because we do way more storytelling than they do, and we use less 3D and more 2D. So it's a bit complicated, and especially we put education everywhere. That is, you know, but actually having kids learn something. And like we did fairy tale, and so I actually the first early adopters, I gave books to them, friends and family and all that you do. So there was this lady, she had a nephew, and we gave her a fairy tale, and it's Three Little Pigs. So and now she just texted me like a couple of days ago, and she's telling me that every time she goes home to her sister, the little girl is asking, I want to see the fairy tale came alive with my auntie. That is actually what we did that for, to connect generation, to have like someone, and a little kid and a grown-up enjoy time together using technology, not just giving the iPad to the kid and you do whatever you want. It's like, let's share a moment. So that's my moment. I mean, I'm already done for 2019. I'm willing to see what happens in 2020.
And what was the best learning from that moment?
Don't give up. I mean, there are certain days that I say, I mostly of my time I take the money from my account and draw in the company to pay the salaries, to do all these things, and you end up at the end of the day, oh my God, why am I doing this? Okay. I mean, I could travel, I could do other things with that money, but you feel like giving up. You feel like, okay, tomorrow I'll close the company, but then the night ends. And you end up in the morning and you are, why am I thinking I should stop? I know that I can do something good. And in that moment, that is the lesson. When you see a smile on a kid, even if AR Market will not be the one, maybe it will be another company, but at least you know that, the people that work for you, that kid and the one that enjoyed, even if 10 people enjoyed what you did, it means you change someone else's life. The people working here, most of them are first experience. In 1 year, they grow so much, but not only in terms of what they can do, in terms of how much they can push themselves to the limit. And giving a lesson to those people, well, I've learned more in 1 year with these guys. Most of people pay 100K to go to university.
Yeah.
Startup is university of life. You learn so much. You know how to do things that others just dream about.
Yes, that is really very inspiring. Thank you for sharing your supercharged moment. Just wanted to wind up with last one question. So what is your next 6 months milestones ahead?
We are planning distribution. So we're talking with globally distributors, with other companies that do AR in other places. I hope that a couple of major investors I met at Websummit jump in. They are pretty big in the edutech field, and I think that that is potential. Okay. We are doing a lot of research and development on immersive training with serious games, and we already have clients really interested, and that is the second step. So we do education until 15 with books, AR, and cardboard VR, to then jump into immersive technology, to have kids that when they are 20 have already learned pre-technology, AR, VR, and actually coding, because we will put coding in most of the books. Mm-hmm. So and then you jump into how to do CPR, how to do fire extinguisher, so that we actually finish their process of learning. So those are the milestone. Mostly one of the major milestone, and be alive and flourish. We put water, we put the seed inside. We have a flower coming up. Now we need to build a stronger plant that can turn into a tree. That is the major milestone.
Wow, that's great. And I wish you all the best for the future aspirations and endeavors ahead. Like, wish to the whole team, like kudos to the whole AR market team. And it was really my pleasure, hosting you. It was really very, my being supercharged moment to, interview with a very special guest over here, Mr. Andrea Baldini, the founder, CEO of AR Market. So
yeah, I can take the super. I will take the super. I mean, it's totally wonderful, and it was such a pleasure to be in this show. And I hope you reach as many people that are doing the same thing, and also people that want to jump into such a journey of learning that is actually building a company.
Okay, that's really great. I hope you enjoyed the show with the startup show community, and I will drop every information, the website, even Andrea Baldini's LinkedIn information in the descriptions below. So please don't forget to reach out to him for any clarifications or anything you would like to do, partnerships or integrations, because he's a very warm, welcoming person, and he works with passion and never ever give up. That are the main things I learned from him. So that was really wonderful, Andrea, just for being in this part of this show once again. So I wish you all the best in the coming years. Would like to see more and more startup stories and your startup experience in the coming months and years ahead. So until then, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.